Hi and welcome, it's Tony from Hearns. Is it part 2 or part 3? I don't remember. Yokomo RS 2.0. Customer build for our good mate Jeff Biggs, who you saw in the first episode. He's eagerly waiting his car. Hi and welcome, it's Tony from Hearns. Is it part 2 or part 3? I don't remember. Yokomo RS 2.0. Customer build for our good mate Jeff Biggs, who you saw in the first episode. He's eagerly waiting his car. So let's get on with it. I've actually done a little bit extra on this build before I came here to film. I've snuck ahead and already pre-built the shocks. I had the whole kit out on the bench so I could work on the kit while serving customers. Everyone can have a look at what we do. So the shocks are already done, ready for their step. And over here I've got all the turnbuckles, which I've pre-assembled as well, because you don't want to see me build them. They're really boring. So both the shocks and the turnbuckles are all done. So we're ready to go on to the next stage. This is where we got at the end of last time. Both the diffs are assembled. The whole drivetrain there is ready. Nice and free. That should be a real weapon. And it's been probably a week and a half, I think, since I built the diffs. And all good, no leakage. Looking forward to getting into this. So let's start again. We're now doing the steering. I've already pre-assembled a couple of the ball ends. Once again, you don't want to see me do those. Let's just, this needs to be at 90 degrees, so turn that around like that. You're probably sick of hearing me say this, but get yourself a pair of these pliers. Doesn't have to be these ones, something similar. They're just so much better than anything else in terms of assembling these sort of things, once you can work out how to do it. Okay, let's do the rest of the steering setup. These go on the front. Let's put that on there. This is the hard bit. Just trying to work out how to orient it. So one on, turn that around. Okay, this one's a bit reluctant. Here I am telling you how easy this makes the assembly, and I'm spending 5 minutes trying to do it. Okay, how about I just go back to the old default. I'm going to use the needle nose pliers. Actually, the problem is here, because that's angled, I'm not getting a straight on push with it. So I'll just put that like that. Okay, done. Let's pretend that never happened. So that's okay, we'll bring that in here. So we've got this assembly ready. Bell cranks, now these are slightly different. There's tiny little ridges there, they need to point towards each other. Now, there's ball bearings top and bottom. Put those in. Assemble onto the chassis. Again, paying attention to the notches, make sure we've got them correct. Now this goes in like that. Now the screws we need here are M3 by 10. I'm going to say that's these. If you need to know, you go over to the side, M3 by 10, that is correct. Now these have little collars that slide onto them, and the manual says apply black grease. We'll pull that out of thing. Don't think you want a whole lot on there, just a little bit. I'd be inclined to, it doesn't need to be the actual black grease out of the kit, any sort of decent ceramic grease would do. So we'll just put a little bit on here. Just to make sure it doesn't bind up. I'll just turn that upside down. Now this screw in the first one. Don't do them up too tight. Once you've got them both in, then you can tighten them up. Again, don't wrench down really hard on them. You want it to the point where you can just feel, yep, that's fine. That's okay. Just move that side to side, make sure it's okay, and it is, make sure it's free. And now we need M3 by 6s in the back here. This is a very simple steering system, but it works. And again, when I've screwed these two up, we'll check to make sure that It should be okay because you've got ball bearings in there, but you still want to make sure that it all moves freely. That's done, that's okay. Just move some of those up. Okay, next up we've got the servo. Now I don't have the radio for this car, so I'm going to do what I've done in previous videos. Some of you may have seen that, some of you might not have. Let's grab the servo saver out. I think it's going to be this one. Oh, yep, that's the correct one. So what I'm going to do is make a guesstimate of where the center is. So we'll start here, which is the default setting that it comes with. If we go back to there, and then all the way back around there. So where it came is pretty much dead center. Now the chances are that's going to be just right, and we just might need to trim it a little bit, but that should be okay. So we want an M3x8 screw to go in here. That's in, and we want a small ball end, which is this. Let's put that on. Now, the servo mount is a little bit different. It's like a box. I've never seen one like this before. Let's have a look. Where are we in? What bag are we in? Bag 5. That's bag 12. There it is. I think I undid bag 5 the other week when I started on this. Alright. Just need to trim that. These are a pair of 9 steps side cutters, which I grabbed because our other ones were pretty much wrecked. These are really, really good. I'll be taking those home. So here's the servo mount. Goes in like that. It's actually really good. It's a nice rigid structure. That's going to hold it very well. So on one side we have an M3x15 which goes in from the back with a washer and a lock nut. This is very different to the RS 1.0, which has got a different arrangement. Quite like this. It's very well designed. That done. Now the other side. These are M3x6s with a washer. Next one. Okay, that's all done. Now we get to mount the servo in the car. Again, this is all very, very different to the RS 1.0. We want M3 by 8 countersunk. Turn it over. Sometimes this is the hardest bit, lining it up. In this instance, the way it's designed is it locates itself anyway. So it's much easier than on a flat plate chassis without things moulded into it. It just locates itself and we're okay. Now if I was smart, I'd go across the other side of the studio and grab my electric screwdriver, which I can see. That'll save me doing this up. Just wait there, don't go away. You're not going to catch me doing these up manually like a sucker. That's better. Okay. Do that up there. Might just crack that up on there. Again, I'm actually going to go with the needle nose this time. That's ready. Now, there's one more screw to put in here, but I happen to know we need another part. That's the sidebar, and again, another different piece to anything we've seen before. That slots in there. You can see where that goes in. Note where that fits. That's an M3 by 12. That looks like an M3 by 12 to me. Alright, that screws in like that. Now, that's at the front. We need to hold this, but there's a new piece that goes in there, which is the sidebar. It's the front sidebar, rear sidebar. Now I've got to find it. I'm going to suggest that looks like it. This is another new part. There we go. These are M3 by 12s. That's just having a look now for that other M3 by 12 which isn't in this lot. Can't see it right now. I will leave that for now and get back to it. Because this has been packed away for about a week and a half since I last worked on it. Things move. That's all right, we've got the thing in place. So we're good there. We're now on to bag 6. Where's bag 6? Come on, bag 6, reveal yourself. 4. There's bag 6. Now, Can't find my scissors, so I'm just going to do it old school. Use the 9 steps cutters to start it. And then just rip it open. Again, I'll mention about the mat that I'm using. This is the Sweep Racing Pit mat. This is actually my one. I got so used to using these in here at Hearns that I bought one. So we're actually building this on my mat. Okay, now this is another new thing on the RS 2.0. Different arrangement with the upper decks. My own car has a custom made carbon deck on my RS 1.0. But here on the 2.0 it's all very different. And as you'll see very soon, you get the stiffness and strength that you want, because we've got a steel motor mount here which is connected to the front and to the rear, so it gives you the stiffness, but the area around the spur gear and the pinion and the motor is left clear. That gets around one of the issues I've got on the 1.0, whereas if you put big pinions on, which I need to do in the class that I run, there's no clearance and you have to grind away a little bit. This fixes that. So that's an M3x25, that's a big one. Now I'm glad I got the electric screwdriver out. Oops. Yeah, that happens sometimes. And the ones up the front are all M3x8s. Right now you're saying to yourself, yeah, I need one of them. This is a Bosch one I got from Bunnings. It's set at a very low torque setting, so it's not likely to cause any issues with stripping screws. All right, front one done, rear one now. And then you're in the back. Okay. Now, I'm just going to put the rear ones in, the rear two. This one is an M3x25. We need to, is that in the correct spot? We are. There we go. You might need to just lever the chassis a little bit just to get it to line up. That's normal. We'll just check that. Everything's still nice and free. We've got both the front and the rear deck on. Okay, that's all good. Well, they're all together. It's pretty good, commendably stiff. Move on to the next page. Turnbuckles. I've already done them. I need, but let's work on the front bulkhead and put the ball ends in first. I'm not using the electric screwdriver on this, it's only a few turns, not necessary. That on. Okay. And I will default to the needle nose pliers for this. Whoa. These are a bit tighter than I thought. This. There we go. And the other side. Okay, they're on front shock tower next. This is a low profile shock tower because this car comes with the really short shocks. Same length as on the MS01, MS 1.0, but the ones on that one are carbon. These are just plastic, but should do the job quite well. Just turn that around, make sure that's the right one. M3 by 10 socket head. These. That's notice I've got a very loose grip on this, so that allows the whole handle to turn in my hand rather than wrench into the thing. Okay, that's good. I'm going to move this up here out of the way. Now we do the ball end, the inner ball ends on the rear bulkhead. Same again. One. And move that across there so you can see it. They're done. And the rear shock tower, the countersunk, that goes there. And what are they? M3 by 10 countersunk again. missing a couple of screws again. Just checking over here. Going to use these. Oops, that's a 1.5. That's not going to work. Okay, that's good. Front and rear shock towers on. Upper links. Time to do some twirly bits. Bag 8. Lots of bits here. Now here is a real joy because all the drive shafts are fully assembled. Now it's up to you. Yokomo do a pretty good job. Generally they're well assembled. Putting a little bit of grease in there is probably a decent idea. Up to you. It's purely personal. If you're really serious, you might want to pull them apart and double, triple check to make sure that the little screws are thread locked, stuff like that. But they're usually pretty good straight out of the packet. Let's just get all those out. Okay, we've got steering block here. Yep, they're not handed, so it doesn't really matter. So let's do the first one, put that in, push that down. Let's just check, they should, yep, 40, these are all the same length, so it doesn't matter which one you use. It's all good. We want a medium ball end, which is this. That goes into there. Now, these things are a pain. They're a real pain. Some of them go on easily, some don't. In my experience so far, the Yokomo ones are pretty easy. Push that on over there. And yep. There you go. So that one's ready. We've got most, there's a ball bearing goes in here. I'm not going to put it in now. I'm going to leave it until later. All right, that side's good. And now we want the C-hub, which has got, this is the one I want, because we're doing the left hand side, so I want these things pointing forward and the larger section on the bottom. So goes in like that. Now almost certainly there's going to be collars. Yes, there are. There's one in the bottom. I bet there's one on the top too. Yeah, there is. Yeah, this bit's never fun. Getting them in and getting them to stay in while you do the assembly. Come on. Okay, they're in now. Okay, I've been able to get that in. Now there's a spacer. It goes on top, and there's the long ball end that goes in. So if I just go like that, just double check to make sure I'm getting everything correct. Yes. And underneath is an M3x10 button head, which is this one. Now, on most cars, doing this bit can be a real pain. The bits fall out and everything, but this has gone together really nicely. Just, you got to be careful, don't over tighten this, because if you do, it doesn't work. But that's great. Just double check. Okay. One side done. Now move over to the right hand side. Let's get that ready. We'll put that medium ball end in now before I do the rest. Okay. It's notable that so many cars I've built over the years, nothing really has changed. The way these go together is just the same as what it's always been. So let's get the top hats in. Quite often you can't find these because they're already somehow find their way onto screws. And you go, where the hell is it? Alright, just come on. This one isn't playing fair. There we go. Got it in. And it's the long screw again with the spacer. Once you've got one in, it's good because it holds it together for the bottom one. So I'm just checking the size on this. Yep, that's the correct one. Put that together. Do that up, push that in, out. Again, not too tight. Yep, that's good. And these are generally called blades. I'm not sure why, but that's what they've always been called. So that should work. pull that over. And that's done. All right. So there we go. There are the bits. Okay, we're going to leave that one there for the moment. When you next come back, we'll work on putting the rest of the front and rear suspension together, and we should probably be able to button most of it up. We'll see how we go. In the meantime, I'm Tony from Hearns. Thanks for watching.